Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Trapped. That's what residents in Kimball Township say is happening to them almost daily. Thanks for joining us. Take a look. This is the small neighborhood right outside Port Huron. Right now, the I-696 overpass is closed for construction.
Meaning that the only way to get in and out is to go south, but residents say that's not always an option. Tonight, Lauren Kostick shows us the problem and what neighbors say needs to change.
Well, neighbors tell me this has been happening for months. Let me show you what I'm talking about. These tracks over here, that is where the trains are stalling. And then right down the road, that is where the construction is happening, which means everyone back here can't get out. But it also means no one can get in.
The biggest problem is we got a bunch of dumb that didn't do any planning.
Neighbors in Kimball Township not shying away from how they feel.
It's gotten to be a real problem, and we've contacted many sources and nothing.
Last March, MDOT started work on the I-69 overpass, shutting down Allen Road.
So now we can't get out the way we would always get out before.
So you're trapped.
So we're trapped.
All because of this.
JRT and Jackson time.
Canadian National Rail line stalling on the tracks.
Daily.
Daily?
Just about daily, yeah.
And the wait isn't quick.
25 minutes to 3 hours.
It's not like, hey, we're stuck here for, 5-10 minutes. It's hours. It can be hours on end that train is sitting there.
Causing people to be late for work, school, appointments. But that's not the only fear.
Not only are we trapped in, but like I said, emergency vehicles are trapped out.
Health issues with my heart. If I have a heart attack right now, I can't get out.
Neighbors have pushed for a solution or even an access point, but nothing, saying agencies are pointing the finger with neighbors stuck in the middle.
A line of communication, something.
We want to be heard over here. We deserve to be heard. This is ridiculous. We're done.
Now, we did reach out to MDOT. They replied saying, unfortunately, there are no other options to provide immediate egress for residents in the area, saying we have reached out to CN and they are looking into the situation. And Canadian National also replied to that, saying, yes, they are working on not just an interim solution, but also a long-term solution. Reporting live tonight, Lauren Kostick, Local 4.
Lauren, before you go, do we know when the bridge work will be done?
Yes, that's really only the glimmer of hope right now for residents. MDOT is saying they expect that project to be finished sometime in July.
Okay, Lauren Kostick reporting for us tonight. We appreciate it. City of Royal Oak approves a new master plan for more housing options.
So last night, concerned residents waited hours to express their concerns to the city council, but the entire council walked out of the meeting after one resident went over her speaking time. Pamela Osborne joins us live with an update and more reaction after last night's decision. Some of those residents saying they feel like the city was gaslighting them.
Yeah, some do say that, and the people who live in these neighborhoods really want to preserve them. The language in that master plan, it goes from single family residential to neighborhood residential, which opens up the opportunity for more types of housing. But the neighbor that we heard from last night and again today say they don't want any more properties like that.
This is kind of what started a lot of my involvement, because I saw what happens when you put the big building next to the little building.
Michael Thompson is an architect who's called Royal Oak home for decades. He's one of the many residents who spoke out against the city's new master plan, which aims to meet the city's growth by allowing for more multifamily homes.
I took a section of this neighborhood and built it to a certain scale to show what single-family zoning is.
He showed us what he believes could happen under that new plan passed unanimously by city commissioners last night.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Our neighborhoods are what make Royal Oak great. So the master plan actually calls out preserving our neighborhoods as they exist today.
Commissioner Brandon Colo told us today there's a lot of misconceptions about the plan, specifically the impact multi-unit homes will have on neighborhoods.
We're looking at old, tired commercial buildings. We're looking at Woodward, which is in bad need of a facelift. We're looking at old industrial, which has now moved out of the city and prime for redevelopment. So we're looking at growth where it belongs and not in the neighborhoods.
There's still skepticism, especially when it comes to the next steps, which Commissioner Colo says will include input from residents.
My thoughts are you didn't do it before in the master plan. Why are you suddenly going to bring us in now as homeowners and stakeholders?
Commissioner Colo says in the coming months they'll be inviting residents to share their thoughts and ideas about some of this zoning language that has yet to be adopted. The commission expects that this language won't be formalized until about a year from now. We're live in Royal Oak tonight. I'm Pamela Osborne, Local 4.
Sounds like there's a big trust breakdown here. Pamela, hopefully they can come to some kind of consensus in the future. Thank you.
New at 6, 3 children avoid serious injuries after a truck crashed into their apartment in Pontiac. This happened early Saturday morning near Cherry Hill Drive. Deputies say the suspected drunk driver took off with her dog but was arrested a short time later. They say 2 10-year-old boys and a 13-year-old girl broke a window to escape. The trio only suffered a few scrapes. Meanwhile, a 36-year-old driver from Pontiac was arrested on drunk driving charges. She was later released pending results of a toxicology report.
A Lapeer County man charged in the 1989 rape and murder of a Washtenaw County woman could be headed to trial. 69-year-old Buster Robbins is accused of abducting and killing Beverly Wivel while she was sleeping in her car after dropping her son off at school. This happened nearly 36 years ago in Canton Township. The case is headed back to district court. That's where it will be determined if there's enough evidence for a trial. Wivel's family celebrated the decision today to send the case back to district court.
It's sad, you know, because of what my aunt went through, the thoughts of what my aunt went through when she was murdered. You know, she was just trying to rest before she had to go pick up my cousin from school.
Now, last week, Robbins was given a $5 million bond. Investigators found child pornography on one of his tablets as they were looking into other cases that he is connected with.
In a Local 4 News update, a Detroit man is charged in a double shooting in Dearborn Heights. 48-year-old Ashante McAfee is accused of shooting a 39-year-old woman and a 41-year-old man. Prosecutors say McAfee entered his ex-girlfriend's home Sunday morning and pulled out a rifle and started shooting. He was arrested later that day. Both victims are expected to survive. McAfee faces several charges, including assault, home invasion, and domestic violence.
The Michigan State Senate has passed a new package of bills aimed at helping survivors of sexual assault. The Justice for Survivors package extends the civil statute of limitations to 10 years and opens a 1-year revival window for expired claims. It also allows survivors to collect up to $1.5 million in damages, and it also eliminates legal immunity for institutions that fail to protect victims. This legislation now heads to the Michigan House for consideration.
You may have received one of these. It's a text message demanding money for toll fees. I know I've gotten a few of them. It's been part of a scheme seen across the Midwest where scammers claim to be from toll services and demand users pay road tolls. Well, some text messages threaten the recipient, may lose their license, and includes a link that might look legitimate. But this text here has Michigan.gov included in the link. Tonight, MDOT is responding to those text messages with a statement that reads in part, quote, MDOT does not operate any toll roads. Some state-owned bridges are tolled, but not through license plate capture. You would not receive a bill through text message or email. Also tonight, Attorney General Dana Nessel has these tips to avoid being scammed. Remember that government agencies will not request personal information or demand any money through email, over the phone, or through text messages. You will also be mailed a notice with payment options. Consumers should not reply to suspicious text messages or click on links or attachments. And finally, you can report smishing texts by forwarding them to spam 7726 and by sending the text messages to the Federal Trade Commission.
Changes are on the way for COVID-19 vaccines. The FDA is changing the standard of evidence needed for shots to be approved for the general public. The agency says COVID-19 boosters are expected to be available this fall for the older population and people with health issues. But the FDA says it needs to see enough positive data from a placebo-based trial before COVID boosters can be recommended for people in other groups. 2 first responders being honored in Detroit today in a heartwarming celebration of heroism.
The Detroit Fire Department today honored paramedic Christopher Fadades and EMT Samuel Lemire as this year's recipients of the prestigious Kim L. Lifesaver of the Year Award for their brave and swift actions in saving a life. The pair responded to a dramatic situation where a cardiac arrest patient collapsed on scaffolding, 3 stories in the air.
You quickly defibrillated the patient and you started ACLS. The patient regained spontaneous circulation and woke up. Your performance of a post-ROSC 12-lead EKG demonstrating an inferior STEMI and your early pre-hospital notification led to the patient rapidly being transported to the cardiac catheterization lab, where he was found to have 100% occlusion of the artery I mentioned earlier. The patient did really well. Micah did really well, and he walked out of the hospital 2 days later on his own, so that is truly amazing.
The award is named in memory of Kim LeQuerquist, a pioneer in Michigan's EMS system who made transformative contributions to emergency medical care and education before his passing in 2017. And just a reminder, you can help us go for it and become a CPR lifesaver. We're teaming up with the City of Detroit and the Detroit Fire Department to teach hands-only CPR training. The training is tomorrow at the Coleman Young Recreation Center on Detroit's east side. It will run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. To sign up, scan the QR code on the screen or go to our website, click on Detroit.com. Walk-ins are also welcome. Participants will learn hands-only CPR. The Detroit Health Department will also be on site doing free blood pressure, free diabetes, and free cholesterol screening, so we hope you'll join us. Now we go to the forecast. Live look here at our downtown sky cam as we wrap up a cloudy Tuesday across Metro Detroit. Just so gray out there. Let's get right over to forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams with the first look at the forecast. Kim, you're tracking a little bit of rain moving in the area, I would say.
A lot of it. It's pouring down rain across much of Metro Detroit, with the exception of Port Huron up into the Thumb. But the rest of Metro Detroit dealing with some pockets of heavier showers. I do have lightning detector on. At this point, it is just rain. We're not seeing any thunder or lightning, but it's definitely a rainy Tuesday here in Metro Detroit. We'll check a couple of our sky cams, including Mount Clemens, where it is, just sprinkling in Mount Clemens, not quite as heavy there. We'll go to Southfield now and check conditions in Southfield, and as you can see, it is wet. The roads are wet. Although what you might notice is just how green it's gotten just within the last week. So we do need the rain, but we'll go the last one. Let's check in on Metro Airport, see if there's any shake to that camera, as we have had some winds that have been picking up. It's a little shaky there, but raining at the airport right now as well. It has definitely been rainy and cold today. In fact, as we look at the temperatures, we are only in the low 50s at Metro Airport, upper 50s in Mount Clemens, and mid 50s in Pontiac, 52 now in Monroe. It's going to be a while before we even crack the 60-degree mark. We'll talk about your Memorial Day weekend forecast coming up.